Alright, so I'm going to be refuting Jackson's speech, and his claim was any level of musical talent can be enough to establish someone as a mainstream musical performer. I haven't received a revised version of this speech, and I'm going to be responding to his three claims, or at least try to. One, many musicians with formal training flourish today. Two, numerous musical artists throughout history have had no formal understanding of music theory. And three, lyrics can bring a musician as much acclaim as musical talent can. I'm going to take 1 and 2 together because both of these secondary claims are two sides of an argument he didn't make. Had Jackson said that there is a level of musical talent that establishes someone as a mainstream musical performer, I would have chosen the other secondary claim to support the opposite of that. So Jackson had said that it takes musical talent or an education of music theory to become a mainstream musical artist. I would have looked towards a secondary claim, which shows good evidence of popular bands like Blink-182, like the Beatles, like Michael Jackson, who are very influential and popular, but have no real fundamental understanding of music theory or had any formal education. If he went for the other way, I would have looked towards his first secondary claim with Sinister Gates of Avenged Sevenfold, Bob Dylan, and Sheryl Crow as the opposing argument. His third claim, lyrics can bring a musician as much acclaim as musical talent can. I feel like this one really should fall under the secondary claim as a part of grounds. And he uses information like freestyle rap. Rap artists typically don't have a lot of music behind the songs. It's usually just a beat to provide rhythm or provide bass undertone. And I would have looked towards more examples had there been a conditional argument. Something in the past, perhaps. He does provide a wide range of evidence. Overall, the whole argument didn't use any statistical data, anything that could easily be refuted. It's mostly grounded deep in history and historical facts. Other than that, I can't really say much else for Jackson's argument. Other than that, if I was going to take a conditional argument to refute, it would have been helpful to provide more statistical data in terms of how popular these artists compare to each other, meaning to suggest that Michael Jackson is probably way more popular than Sheryl Crow or Sinister Gates of those bands. And I would have liked to have argued that maybe formal education does affect how much more popular you become in the mainstream celebrity world. And that is
All right, I remember this argument. It was a little bit complicated because it really seems like there's no grounds for any contrary position, and it's a little vague as to what the advocate's real claim was. I thought you did a nice job summarizing that concept by pointing to the first points and basically saying they reach the same conclusion in contradictory ways, and so there's not really grounds. I mean, by definition, the advocate has basically said the opposite grounds are not, they're a basis that I'm going to use, but we still are a little bit vague on what the inference was, and I thought your explanation of that was pretty solid. On the lyric issue, you had a couple of examples that I thought illustrated the point. I do think you've got a really good point arguing that it's not possible to do comparisons between the two sides, again, because the advocate is basically trying to take both sides and use them to advance that position. But you gave a couple of hypothetical and conditional situations where an argument might have been possible, and once again, there's a demonstration that the advocate didn't really meet that criteria. So I thought you explained the concept well, explained what your position was clearly, and did a reasonable job trying to present an answer under the circumstances. All right, thank you.